Welcome back to the Weeb Lounge, guys, and in this episode we are going to go over Neon Genesis Evangelion, one of the absolute core anime in the entire genre. If you're a fan of anime and you haven't seen it, you're doing it wrong. Evangelion, to this day, even though this came out like late 80s or something around there, I had Evangelion on Laserdisc, I had it on VHS, I had it on DVD, I had it on Blu-ray. I've had every iteration of this show possibly imaginable. It is a classic. It took a robot genre anime, made it really weird, twisted, dark, and you find out they're kind of not really robots, but they are. Yeah, it's incredibly unique, and even though it came out so long ago, over 2 decades ago, all right, this show is still making money selling figures and merchandise, and movies are still coming out. There's the 4th Evangelion movie, the kind of reboot, I guess you could say, that's still on the table. It's supposed to come out either later this year, probably early 2021 because of the pandemic delays. But let's just get into the characters really quick. Shinji, the main protagonist, if you can really call him that. Of any main protagonist character that I can possibly imagine, Shinji is the biggest crybaby bitch of all of them. Wah, 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 why me? I have to pilot this big robot and save the Earth. Wah, cry a little more and, sleep with a penguin. Shinji's a bitch. He's a bitch. That's all there is to it. He's the main protagonist, but at the same time, you pity him so much you start to hate the guy. Okay, at least that's my experience with it. I don't like Shinji. Shinji's a little bitch. I can't reiterate that enough. But then you bring in other characters. You bring in Rei. Rei, the short-haired, blue-haired girl who seems to just be a masochist. Just gets her ass whooped. Every time you see her, she's in a cast, bandages, patch on her eyes. She's just beat all to hell every day, all day, right? It's because she's fighting the angels. She's trying to protect Earth, right? And the angels, it's basically a wave of different crazy monsters that show up on Earth trying to cause the apocalypse, blah, blah, blah. And they have to use the mechas to fight them off. And yeah, Rei is basically a clone of clones of clones. I'll just give it away. There's spoilers in all these reviews in case you didn't know. So here's this. Rei is basically Shinji's mom's clone. And Shinji's got a thing for her. Let that sink in. A clone of Shinji's mom that Shinji doesn't know that, but Shinji's still attracted to her. Anime. But Rei is a very melancholy character. Very rarely shows any kind of emotions whatsoever. Think of her as Spock from Star Trek, okay? That's kind of the narrow-mindedness I can't say narrow-mindedness. That's the narrow emotion scale that she has. She's smart. She knows her thing. She doesn't care about possessions. She doesn't care about anything else. She just cares about getting the job done. That's pretty much it. Just to see her smile once. I think there's like one time in the anime where you really get to see her have a legit happy smile, right? Oh. And then you got Asuka. Asuka's my favorite character, the fiery redhead with the big personality, ready to charge in and beat the crap out of everything and just yell and scream and fight, and she's really good at it too. And she's actually our favorite character. She's a spicy girl. She's the Tom girl thing. I like the Tom girl, so she kind of fits that mold, I guess. But she's very overconfident. She's very hot-headed. She's very angry at everything. Especially Shinji, because Shinji, it's like a whole thing with Shinji. Man up, man up, man up. And yeah, Shinji won't do that. He just won't. Oh, why is Shinji like that? Well, probably because his mom died early on, right? It just, something happened to her. I don't quite remember, or they didn't explain or something. Who knows? And Gendo, the father, he runs NERV. NERV is this whole organization that's running all the mechas, the Neo Tokyo, all this stuff, trying to fight the angels, okay? He runs NERV. And he's a dick. He's an outright dick. Doesn't care about Shinji's emotions whatsoever. Doesn't care about any of this other stuff or whatever. He is cold as hell, calculating as hell, strategic as hell. He's smart. He knows what he's doing. And I think to his credit, he realizes that that takes precedence, that saving the world takes precedence over saving his relationship with his son. Which would you rather do? Make Shinji feel better, the little bitch, or save the world? We're going to save the world. That's where our attention is going to be focused on. Could he do both? Probably. But that's Gendo, I guess. Maybe, he is still a dick. I mean, I ain't saying he ain't. That's for sure. And then you got Misato. Misato, the long-haired purple girl, wears the red blazer kind of dealy, has the cross with the purple shirt or something. She's a slut. She pretty much is. Her ex-boyfriend Kaji is always around doing stuff. He's one of these guys. He's like a spy or something. He's got information, blah, blah, blah. He keeps showing up at key times, trying to push buttons and everything. But Misato, she's basically... It's almost like she's so lonely, she's trying to get with Shinji, but she doesn't, and kind of does. And then there's this elevator scene where they, swap a little saliva there, and I'm just kind of like, Misato, I don't know what your deal is. I really don't. She sits at home, dressed and slutty, drinking beers. She has her pet penguin, Pen, who lives in her refrigerator. I like Pen. Pen's a cool character. It's just like this penguin with some cyborg implants or something. He'll walk out, grab a beer, and his damn self, go back in the fridge. Great penguin. Good life, I guess. Free beer, lives in the fridge. Comes out when he wants to. Oh. But yeah. Basically, Shinji, Rei, and Asuka are tasked with fighting off all these angels, these wave of angels. And every time one shows up, they have different powers, different abilities, and they have to figure out a way to get around it. And I like it because it's not your typical, it's not like Gundam or mecha anime where it's like, fighting, punching swords, and you see like 1,000 missiles come out of their back and fly through space like this and everything, do twisted turns, and then finally impact with nothing. It's not that kind of thing. It's more strategic. It's more planning. It's more of a mind game. It's a lot more of a mind game. Trying to figure out the weakness, trying to figure out the optimal way to do them in and survive at the same time. And some of these, a lot of them, they almost do not survive. Eventually they don't, actually, but one of the angels actually turns out to be Kaworu. Kaworu is like this red-eyed, white-haired guy that basically befriends Shinji. And it is like the most yaoi relationship that you can possibly think of. It's gay innuendo from start to finish of that, okay? But they do end up becoming good friends. But it turns out Kaworu is one of the angels. Basically turning on humanity, and Shinji, standing in EVA Unit 01, the big purple unit, is basically holding them like this. He has his thumb sitting right here, and he basically has to decide, save humanity by killing his friend or let his friend go. He knows what he's got to do, but that really long pause in the anime, I mean, it lasts probably longer than a minute. I don't know how long it was, but where he's sitting there trying to debate, and finally just pops his head off. See his head go, whoo. Yeah, it's stuff like that that can get really dark in this show. You want something else is really dark? EVA Unit 1, the purple one for Shinji, 2, the red one for Asuka, and then of course you have the prototype 00, which is Rei's. They all basically, Shinji's mech, quote unquote, is more of a biological mass covered in armor. That's pretty much what it is. Same thing with Asuka, same thing with Rei's. The thing is, they need a soul to kind of integrate with the machine, and the soul has to match the pilot. Okay, I might be getting this a little bit wrong here, but you have to deduct some of this when you watch the show, okay? Now, in order that soul has to be implanted onto the mech, and the pilot has to be able to interact with the soul, has to have a good connection, okay? So the soul of Shinji's mom is in that machine that he's piloting, is EVA Unit 01. Asuka's mom is the soul of EVA Unit 02, and that's why they have a good bond, because the mother's soul is in those machines, and they want to protect their children, aka the pilots. Rey's, I'm not too sure how that works, because I think Shinji's, a clone of Shinji's mom is the soul for that one. And it works with Rey because it's like the same person piloting or so. I don't know how that one works. I really don't. Whatever. But basically, you have to watch the show to get a good appreciation of it. And for the first, all the episodes with the exception of the last two are just awesome. They're awesome. The whole setting, Neo-Tokyo, the underground fortress, how the EVA units come up, how they actually have to be plugged in to be powered, which they use as a good plot development thing. Like, if you unplug it, you only got like a couple minutes to do what you got to do before you run out of power. If you run out of power, you're screwed. Okay? Little nuances like that make this show incredibly unique, incredibly popular, incredibly well done. Except the last two episodes. The last two episodes are so trite, so mind-bending, so psychologically scarring, if that's the... You watch these last couple episodes and you're like, I don't know what I just watched. It's all about innuendo, and you could get 100 people with PhDs in psychology to watch these things, and they will not be able to make heads or tails of it. They won't. There is nothing. You can't understand it. They have Rey growing out of Shinji's body, almost as if they're doing it, but they're not, because they're all connected into one body, and she pulls herself out, and Misato kind of does the same, and they're all like saying, congratulations, Shinji, congratulations for what, you little shit? There's nothing to thank him for, or congratulate him for. As far as I know, it kind of turns out that the apocalypse did happen, they fucked up. And Shinji survived to be the Adam to somebody else's Eve, which I guess is going to be Asuka or something. But these two episodes are why they made the movies, the original movie, okay? Because those last two episodes were just so shite that people were just yelling and screaming at them, why did you do this? So they come out with the end of Evangelion movie, which was also kind of just meh or whatever, and... it did bring it to an end, but it was kind of just, it almost like half-assed, Basically, big battle ensues or whatever. The Earth is destroyed, the apocalypse is gone, and you got Shinji and Asuka laying on the beach. They're Adam and Eve. They're the last two humans alive, and Shinji tries to strangle Asuka before Asuka just kind of calms him a little bit or whatever. Why he wants Asuka dead, who the hell knows? Who knows? There's no rhyme or reason to wanting Asuka dead. He just flips over and is like, I'm going to strangle you. And by doing that, he would have finished off humanity. For sure. So, Shinji's a dumbass. Shinji is such a fucking lowlife, okay? In the anime, Asuka gets injured, okay? She's basically in a coma, all right? She's in a coma, sitting in the hospital or whatever. Shinji finally, after who knows how long, decides to come pay her a visit. He starts getting mad at her and kind of thrashing her around a little bit while she's in a coma. And some of her sheets come off and reveals boobies. So what does Shinji do? He rubs one off right there. He rubs one off to a girl he supposedly hates because, bam, he saw boobies in the middle of a hospital. That is as low as dirt. That is lower than dirt. That is decrepit as hell. Okay, I could keep going on about that or whatever, but that's one of the reasons I don't like Shinji. That is some low life BS right there. But cool thing is, the movies that come out, really well done, really getting it going, kind of retelling the whole series without all the BS and really finalizing it. When the fourth movie comes out, you watch those four in sync or whatever, you pretty much have the whole spectrum, the whole good thing, but you have to do yourself a favor and go back and watch the show. You will realize very quickly that you do not like Shinji. If you do like Shinji, my God, you must like pitiful people. I'm sorry, but that's how it is. With that, like, subscribe, hit that notification button. We'll see you in the next video, and that was loud. Woo!